The Monkey Mind Podcast, your number one platform for athletes and mental health. Hosted by Danny Perez and Anthony Florentino.
This is episode 60 featuring Akash Modi. Akash is a former gymnast at Stanford University from Morganville, New Jersey, and Olympic hopeful. Also, Taco Bell, if you're listening, Akash is a huge fan, so if you could sponsor him, that'd be greatly appreciated. You won't regret it. This podcast is proudly brought to you by Daily Dose CBD Inc. Daily Dose CBD Inc. creates full-spectrum CBD products ranging from tinctures, bombs, and dog treats. Research has shown that CBD has successful results in aiding in the following areas: anti-inflammation, anxiety, PTSD, help with breaking addiction, neuroprotection, epilepsy, arthritis, chronic pain, and sleeping disorders. Daily Dose makes an extremely safe and effective product that we know you will love, enjoy, and benefit from. Daily Dose has given Monkey Mind listeners 15% off all their orders. Head over to dailydosecbdinc.com and use promo code MonkeyMind15 for 15% off your purchases. That's promo code MonkeyMind15 for 15% off all your orders at dailydosecbdinc.com. Yeah, we can get into it though. Akash, thank you for coming on and taking the time to talk to me and share your story on this platform. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, for sure. Thanks for having me on. I'm excited for this.
Yeah, no, likewise. If you could please give everybody an introduction on who you are and the sport you compete in.
Sure. So I'm Akash Modi. I am 26 years old. I was a Stanford student athlete, did gymnastics from 2013 to 2017. And since then, I've still been training at Stanford, not competing for the team because my eligibility is up, and competing towards making the Olympic team and, pushing that national team track on the gymnastics side.
Awesome. Well, I was so quick background for everyone listening. My cousin Evan coached Akash growing up, correct? Throughout your young gymnastics career?
No, actually.
Okay.
I didn't know him until this past summer when training at the gym that he was coaching at.
Okay, gotcha.
So he coached me over the summer.
Okay, gotcha. So it was this summer then only that he was training with you?
Yeah.
Okay, gotcha. Awesome. Well, yeah, he told me a lot about you, and he kind of gave me a few of your accolades that I think are pretty impressive that I'll like to throw out for everyone to listen to. That you're a 5-time All-American, 2-time Olympic alternate, NCAA champion all-around parallel bars, pommel horse, vault, and high bar. And you just recently competed in the U.S. Championships. So you can tell everybody how you did there.
Yeah, so one correction there. It's 5-time national champion, the 5 that you listed.
5-time All-American. Okay.
17-time All-American, actually.
Jeez, really?
17-time All-American.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah.
Okay. I got to get these stats.
A few of those in my career.
Yeah, that's unreal. 17.
Yeah. So I just competed in Fort Worth, Texas this past weekend at the National Championships, which is like the prelude to the Olympic trials. And 6th in the all around there, which was pretty good. I was hoping to push a little more into like the top 3, but I'm pretty happy with my performance. I had no major mistakes, just a lot of smaller issues here and there that are easily fixable. Mm-hmm. And it's really close between 2nd place and 6th place. So just a few of those little errors, just clean it up and I can push up into the top 3.
Yeah. Well, that's it's exciting. And I mean, it's 2 weeks now of training before you get into the trials, correct?
Yeah. 2 weeks of training here at Stanford, and then we head out.
Do you find that's enough time for you to kind of prepare and clean up those little things beforehand?
Oh yeah, definitely. All the like major work has already been put in, in the last 6 months. Mm-hmm. Now it's just like, okay, I had this mistake over both days of competitions. I can just come back and fine tune in a week, 2 weeks.
Oh, well, best of luck with that. And, we'll definitely be watching you. And I'm going to ask you, because I got the last 2 statistics incorrect, or the last 2 things incorrect. Just to make sure, what was your major at Stanford?
Did mechanical engineering.
Okay, I have that right.
In my undergrad and in my master's, yeah.
Okay, I have that right then. Perfect. I didn't want to mess that one up 3 in a row, but no, that's awesome. So kind of want to, segue that into kind of just like the attributes that Evan kind of told me about you and how some of the things that make you great, and just it's your ability to focus on the little things, and your prehab, your rehab, and foam rolling, and how you're very critical on yourself. I think those are attributes of people who achieve greatness, and people who achieve things that the average person doesn't. And I kind of want you to just talk about those things and your preparation, and just throughout your whole gymnastics journey, and how that ties into, one, your sport, and two, being a student athlete at such a prestigious institution and achieving the academic success that you have.
Yeah. So I think, like you said, all those little things, and that like attention to detail, I feel like that's what is most important at the highest level, because to kind of get to a good level, it's all about the work you put in, and just putting a lot of hard work, which a lot of people can do, but it's that like last 10% of work that's the hardest to do, because it's honestly kind of boring. It's not really fun to work on your rotator cuff strength to possibly prevent a shoulder injury when your shoulders are feeling good. But that it's that 10% that will keep you healthy and pushing towards that final stage of preparation to be at like the peak shape that you need to be at. And as far as school, honestly, school was great for me as a distraction, because I can get very, very invested in gymnastics, and in anything in particular. I can get super hyper focused and kind of go too far, too deep into it. But school was a great way for me to kind of pursue my other passions, and put my efforts into something else, and not just be totally focused on the gym side of things. And obviously also it's a kind of what I need for the next stage of my life, because I just do gymnastics till I'm retired, at 65. So yeah, it was honestly just like the perfect mix. I got to do exactly what I wanted to in school, while being able to focus on the gym when the time came for it, and push myself to the next level there.
Mm. In regards to those attention to details, when did you kind of realize that those little things were going to catapult you up to, where you are now? Was it a slow kind of process to realize that? I think a lot of people kind of realize those things really help you a little bit too late, or on the later end of their career. Was that something that was always kind of instilled in you, or was there any specific coaches that kind of, made sure that you were doing them? And, what was the process of that? Because I think that's such an important point, that it is that extra 10% that can really make the big difference. And like you said, it's tedious, it's boring, but yeah, walk us through your process with that.
Yeah. So there's kind of three parts to it, I'd say. So I grew up in New Jersey with my coach Yuri Aminov at Monmouth Gymnastics. I was with him my whole junior career from 2001 to 2013, and he's got that old Soviet style of gymnastics where there was a lot of attention to detail, and a lot on that technical side. So it was a lot of like detail in how you do a skill, and kind of knowing what your body is doing while you're doing skills. And so that's kind of where I got that sort of attention to detail on like in the gymnastics technical side. And then when I came to Stanford, I it was a lot more about my the like even more fine tuning, like the execution side. Like I was very good at making skills because of my technical ability, through Yuri, but my sort of execution. So my knee bend, my toe point, my legs staying together, that kind of stuff was a little bit on the wayside. And so I got to be able to focus a lot on that during Stanford. The coaches they already knew I was able to do a lot of these skills. And so they told me, go back, you're relearning the skill. You are not allowed to do it without any execution error. Your toes have to be pointed, straight knees, everything perfect. So that kind of, I felt like I took a step back, but then as I built back, I was able to, kind of jump farther than I would have been able to before, just because the look of my gymnastics suddenly got better. And then after graduating from the college team, and even a little bit like maybe my senior year before I graduated, I could kind of feel the effects of the wear and tear and from gymnastics, and just starting to get a little bit older. My body started hurting, and so I had to pay attention to all that stuff too. And my warm up routine ended up becoming, like instead of a 15-minute active warm up, it was the 15-minute active warm up plus 10 minutes of shoulder therapy plus 10 minutes of back therapy, 10 minutes of ankle therapy, almost a full hour just to get warmed up and get my body going. So I'm ready to make the most of a workout.
Mm-hmm. And it's a full hour, you said, of just that prehab work before you begin a session, correct?
Yeah, it is from 45 minutes to an hour, depending just on how I feel that day.
Yeah, I think that's so important to, I guess, display and talk about, because a lot of people who are just on the outside looking in, or spectators, or people who even want to be at the level that you are, they don't understand that it does take that long sometimes beforehand. I think people just, they always talk about, you only see what's in lights, you never see what's behind. But like, let's talk about what's behind, like what's behind the scenes, what's going on, so that people can know and be educated. And I think the fact that you spend 45 minutes to an hour, it just shows that that's the kind of work you need to put in order to achieve the things that you have done, and to be at the pinnacle of your sport.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And I wish I'd known this earlier, even when I was a kid and started this kind of stuff. If I'd been doing even like 5 minutes of shoulder therapy every day since I was 13 or 14, when I started going through puberty and getting a little stronger, I think my shoulder issues would have been a lot less. I would have built those good habits from beforehand, and built the sort of right motions that I want my body to go through, rather than grinding through it. When I was a kid, it was fine, but like I said, the wear and tear kind of takes its toll. And I've been fortunate that my longevity in the sport has been great. I haven't had any huge injuries, but just those small nagging injuries make a big difference too. It's not just the torn Achilles that screw you over. It's also the shoulder pain that hurts you every time you do, the most basic of skills. And so that's definitely something that I try to bring to any junior gymnast I see or I train with. Just that warm up really does make a huge difference, and it pays its dividends down the line.
Yep. And it's hard for, when you're older, you have this perspective of it, and it's hard for the younger kids to understand, because they can go hours and feel just fine, and the next day they're fine. But I think it's those little things that I think are just, like you said, so important. Kind of shifting gears a bit, obviously, as you know, there's a podcast, regarding athletes and mental health. And do you feel comfortable talking about some of the things that you've struggled with in the past, or currently struggle with in regards to that?
Yeah. So I talked about it before about, my execution is not great. And when I came to Stanford, I had to kind of relearn a lot of things with the proper knee straightening and toe pointing. And so one of the things that I'm just kind of naturally not very good at that stuff. My knees are kind of naturally a little knobby. My toes don't point that great. And it's something I've been working on, and I'm making a lot of improvements on, but it always just kind of puts this doubt in my head, like, am I actually that good? My look, like it kind of gives me that sense that like my look in my gymnastics isn't that great, even though, I feel like I've proven myself over and over again, but there's always that like little nag in my head that tells me like, oh, maybe you're not good enough, just because your knees aren't straight enough. Oh, your toes aren't pointed enough. But I try to kind of take all that and tell myself like, no, I've been putting in the work, and I've been watching my gymnastics. I've been doing all that I need to do to fix that, and the changes are happening. I'm just not seeing it every day. And it's the last like 5 years. It hasn't really been like the change that I wanted to see, but then this year it started really showing up, and a lot of the coaches and the commentators at the competition, they were all saying, "Hey, we noticed the work that you've put in, and it's looking a lot better." And so, it was more that like negativity that I felt towards myself, that I just kind of told myself, it's fine. Don't take the negativity. Just work towards making it positive. And that was I feel like that's kind of one of the biggest mental health issues I've had. Um, just kind of getting rid of that negative self image. So I've been pretty happy with that.
Did you find that it was debilitating in any way in regards to your just your day-to-day life or your athletic performance? Did you find that those thoughts of worry, they just wouldn't be able to, because for all athletes, our sport is our escapism. Did you find that it kind of led into that and it was affecting your performance in ways?
Oh yeah, I mean, for sure. I've been frustrated in the gym so many times because I do a skill or a half routine or a full routine, and I think, wow, like that was great. But my coaches are telling me, no, you had a little, form error there. You bent your knees a little there. You flexed your toes a little there, and it frustrated me so much because I was like, man, I've been working on this and it's still not showing up. And sometimes I would let it get to me, and I just say like, that's it. I give up. I can't do it. I can't do this skill properly. I'm just bad at this skill. And my coaches would always say like, you can say that, but if you're okay with being bad at the skill, then that's fine. You'll just be at this level forever. You have to not be okay with that, and you've got to be able to push yourself to make those changes, even though it's very hard for you. And so I'd always just kind of stay down and not be happy about it, but I'd still like continue putting in that extra work to straighten out my knees, point my toes, and like I said, I feel like it's made the difference years down the line, but it has now made the difference when I need it to count.
How did you feel that you were able to overcome that doubt? Was it strictly just consistently pursuing, the small technical things and working at that over time, or was there a specific coach that would always talk to you? Was there a sports psychologist involved? Like, was it simply just how you've explained it just now, or was there other components involved that really helped you kind of get out of that framework and really get through that threshold?
I think one of the biggest things for me was just writing things down. Like I had a list of exercises and stretches, to help me fix my issues, and just being like very, very non-emotional about that, and being like, hey, these are the things that I know will help me to fix the issue I have. No matter what I feel, no matter if I feel like it's not working, and I'm never going to be able to figure it out. I'm just gonna keep doing this. I have to trust in the program. I have to trust the training, and I'm just gonna put my head down and keep doing it.
Yeah.
Even on the days when I was like, I give up. I'm never gonna be able to do this skill properly. I just go back, do those small technical things and those exercises, the things that I had written down, and move on.
I like that a lot. We've had a few guests come on talk about lists and how that has helped with their mental health and kind of taking some of the things that worry them, their anxieties, and write them on paper, and you can kind of see them tangibly. I think from an athletic standpoint, we see these things that we lack, and tell me your experience on this. We see these things that we lack or we need to work on. We see as like this great big problem. We don't know how to exactly pinpoint it, and I think that's great that you had this list because it takes this problem that we can't really see, kind of, you know what I mean? You can only really see it on video. You don't really notice when you're doing it in the act, and you finally put it on paper, like, okay, this is what I need to work on. And the biggest thing you said too is taking emotion out of it.
Yeah.
We think a lot of athletes, because we invest everything we have, especially the higher levels you get so emotional about it because you care so much. You have to take it out of the picture. And I don't think we ever talked about that, but that was such a great point that that you mentioned, that taking the emotion out of it and just consistently working at it and trusting in the process. And like you said, trusting in the program and just keep hitting it every day.
Yeah, absolutely. On that note, something that I got from my coach here at Stanford was to journal through my experiences. And so that's something that I feel like really actually helped me in this past national championships last week. So I was part of the 2018 and 2019 World Championships team. And so in 2018, it was my first Worlds. I had a little bit of an unfortunate ankle sprain about 2 weeks before the meet, so I was kind of worried about that. Some things in training were a little off, and so I went into the meet kind of with this doubt, kind of doubt in myself, my ability, my preparation. And while I did well on some things, and in the team final I actually ended up doing pretty well, I really let myself down on two of the events that were kind of my strongest events. And so I wrote that down. I wrote down what I felt, why I felt it, why I thought I felt it, and what just kind of journaling my whole experience. And then I went into the 2019 Worlds, and looking through like when I was preparing for it, I was looking through 2018 Worlds, like my journaling, and I was like, okay, I didn't have that preparation, and I didn't prepare like I wanted to. So I'm going to go back. I'm going to prepare exactly like I want to, put in all the numbers that I think I need. And, once I go to the competition, I will be ready. And so I did exactly that. I went to the meet, and it was one of the least nerve-wracking meets of my life, because when I saluted for routine, I knew I was going to hit that routine, and it was going to be great because I had put in the work. I didn't have those nerves. It was more nerves of excitement to show off what I had prepared. And so again, going into this U.S. Championships, I hadn't competed at a big meet in 15 months. So I was, again, kind of doubting myself, like, am I ready? I like, have I done everything I could? And so I was able to look back at 2019 and look at the stuff that I journaled, and kind of brought that same mindset into my preparation and into the competition. And I mean, it paid off. I feel like I was confident, and I showed off what I was capable of doing.
Yeah, you mentioned a lot of really great things, and I think you're at the top of your game and you still have doubt, and it just goes to show that those thoughts can still creep in at any point. I think one thing we've talked about with a lot of other guests is that we always think that the next goal is going to satisfy that hunger and satisfy that feeling of unsatisfaction. And here you are, and you're saying, I still have doubt too. It's like it never goes away. But I think the tactics that you use to go about it also reiterate that a lot of athletes can resonate with, and that's there's so much work that goes away from the mat, the court, the ice, the field, whatever it is, that directly translate to performance and success in whatever it is you're doing, like the journaling and then going back and reflecting. These are things that you're not doing pertaining to your actual sport. Yeah, they to some degree, like, yeah, you're doing reflecting on your sport, but you're not actually practicing your sport, but they have profound effects in the future.
Yeah.
I think that's like huge. And it just goes to show how big the mental side and how big the little things away from the sport can directly translate. I think because you can talk about this more, is that we focus on the physical so much, but if you don't have the mental side, then the physical's nothing.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Um, it's kind of easy to say, like, or to do the work. You just have to go in and do the physical work, whatever is listed in your workout for that day, for that month, for the year. You just go in day in and day out and push to your limit there. But it's never about practice at the competition. When you go and compete, you have to compete, and that's like you get that one shot and that's it. And a lot of it is mental, because so many people have done the preparation, but if you're not able to show what you've prepared and be ready for the big stage and be in that mental state, it's the practice isn't gonna really help you. So it's obviously you want to be physically prepared, but that mental preparation takes a big precedent too over the physical preparation. And I think the two can kind of actually go together, even to where in my practices I kind of put myself back into the mental state that I was at a competition. Like I'll think back to the last Olympic trials I was at, and what the arena felt like, what the crowd felt like. I'll kind of close my eyes before I salute a routine in practice, and put myself in that time frame and that mental frame, and try to do my routine like that. Get my heart rate up like I felt like it was back then, and kind of up the stakes in practice, so that when I get to the meet, I've already mentally prepared for what it's going to be like, and it's no different than practice.
Yeah, that's such a key point and an important thing that you just said and that's a form of visualization, you'd say, correct?
Yeah.
100%. Is there any other sort of visualization that you do? So yeah, two-part. Any other sort of visualization that you do regarding, your sport, and where did you learn these sort of things? Because I think we talk about these things a lot. Growing up, all athletes are kind of told just, people come in and talk all the time, but this is very specific stuff that you do.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's very impactful and can really show effects in your performance. And I think it's great that you're saying all these things, but where did you learn this? Like, was it just trial and error from you? Were there specific coaches that told you this specifically? Because I don't know. Do you feel like this was all taught to you, but it's all so vague, and you're given these specific things of like putting yourself in, you know what I mean? I don't know. I think it's great stuff.
Yeah, for sure. I actually did get it from my coach here at Stanford.
Okay.
We also he makes sure the day before a competition, we're out in the arena practicing, and at end of practice he always says you need to go to every single event, visualize your routine, and put yourself there like you're going to be competing tomorrow, and go through the routine in your head and do it like it's the best routine you've ever done. And I really like that. That's something that I didn't do as a younger gymnast that I think makes a pretty good difference as my routines get harder, and I'm doing stuff that I just wouldn't do when I was a kid because I was too scared to do it in competition.
Mm-hmm.
The stuff in practice though, I feel like I've always had a pretty good grasp on how to like transition from practice to competition, in terms of that mental preparedness. And I did kind of do that as a kid, where when it was the week before our junior nationals, I would I'd put on the uniform in practice and try to time the whole practice like it would be at competition. So I would in the competition you get 12 minutes to prepare for each event. So I would go through in my practice, prepare 12 minutes on each event, and then compete each event afterwards with a 15-minute break in between, just like competition, just simulated in practice, that kind of stuff.
Okay. That's interesting. And then I want to talk about your emotions going into these competitions. I mean, we're talking about Olympic trials. It's very this high end stuff. Like, it's the top of the world, like, talk about your emotions going into a week prior to the competition, and how you stay, even keel, not too high, not too low. I'm sure you've heard that before. Easier said than done. How do you go about doing that when it comes to this sort of stuff?
One of the big things I keep telling myself is just trust that you've put in the work and that you deserve, to go out there and kill it like you've been doing in practice. If I feel like I've prepared enough and I'm ready for the meet, then there's no reason why I shouldn't, do the meet exactly how I want it to be. And that doesn't mean that I'm not nervous. I'm still very, very nervous. I think pretty much everyone is. When you're at this level, people think like, oh, he's been through it enough, or something like that, and he's not even nervous anymore. It's just another competition. But if you do feel like have passion for the sport and passion for what you do, you're going to be nervous because you want to do you want to show that you're the best you can be. But I try to channel those nerves and that extra nervous energy into some more like perfection work. So when I'm doing a routine and I'm competing at a competition, I'll focus more on using that extra like nervous energy to squeeze my legs together, or I have my cues on certain skills, like, oh, I need to extend more before I do this one skill on pommel horse. So I'll use that extra energy I have from my nerves to hit those cues and not focus on the other things. So I have certain things to focus on in my routine, so I'm not focused on not falling or not screwing up.
Jeez, that's that's unreal. I always just would try and puke. Like I'd get so nervous. I'd like, you know what I mean? But that just goes to show like what, you find solutions for these things, and how to put them into your training. And that's why you are where you are. Again, that's another thing about those details. You find, okay, this is a problem, or this is something that's bothering me. How can I turn this into a solution that's going to help me?
Exactly. Yeah. I think that's where a lot of people like see all these things as negatives, but it can be a positive.
Yeah.
It really can.
100%. And I think that's why, it's important to talk about these things and be able to kind of reshift your perspective on it. I think that's huge that you just said that, take these things that bother you and perceived as negative and find ways to use them to your advantage. And that's what you've done. That's incredible. I don't want to take up too much of your time. Just a couple more questions here. What is something that you would tell somebody who maybe a young gymnast coming up, or someone who has that feeling of doubt, essentially something that you would have wanted to know, your younger self, or
I think one of the biggest things is that you always want to be trending upwards. You're obviously going to have bad days in the gym, and that's okay. It's even okay to be frustrated and mad about those bad days, but it's not okay to let those bad days kind of compound and let you roll down a bad hill and just get into a bad state of like mental state. So it's a lot of taking those bad days that you feel are bad, and maybe at the end of practice you sit down, take things back a step, do something very basic that you think would you think you're not at the top of your level at, and focus on improving that for just 10 minutes. Make some improvement somewhere so you can go walk away from a practice saying, I did get better today. And if you keep getting better every single day, I've probably had like 5,000 or 6,000 days in the gym, and if every single day I got better at something, I think I would be at the top of the world. And that's something I wish that I'd done as a kid. I let a lot of those days kind of slip by, and I really wish I hadn't. I wish I'd put in that extra little bit of effort to make something good out of a bad day.
Yeah, no, I think everyone has that that same thought, but obviously can't beat yourself up beat yourself up over it. And I think everything that you've been saying has been super impressive, and stuff that a lot of people are going to be able to take away and implement into their athletic lives and even just their regular lives. I think a lot of the stuff you said is very applicable to just everyday things that we face throughout life. And final question, I want you to talk to me about Taco Bell. I hear you have a bit of an obsession with Taco Bell, potentially a sponsorship. We'll see.
I wish. I've been shouting out Taco Bell every single year at the national championships since 2017, and they're still not sponsoring me.
We got to do something about that.
It's an obsession for sure. I spend a ridiculous amount of money at Taco Bell. I eat way too much Taco Bell for an elite athlete, but it's just too good. I can't stop.
How did that start? What's the backstory behind this?
Oh,
and your favorite meal too.
Of course. I'll let you know. But I have a firm belief that just about every Indian person likes Taco Bell. I don't know what it is, but it's just in our blood. We all like Taco Bell, and I just got a little bit extra of that blood. I love Taco Bell. I could not tell you when I started loving Taco Bell. I've been loving it since I was a baby. And I favorite meal is pretty hard, pretty hard. But the Mexican pizza is very high up there. The crunch wrap is very high up there. Cheesy gordita crunch very high up there. But if I had to choose, I'd probably say the crunch wrap is just the overall best, food item there. It's versatile. It's big. You get a lot for your money. Easy to eat. It's just awesome.
I love the versatility of it. I do agree.
Exactly, right? It's just
like
a little pocket. You can just pull up and eat.
No, it's unreal. But that's awesome. We'll tag Taco Bell on this and make sure we work on getting you that sponsorship. It's huge.
Please.
Yeah. How many times a week you eating Taco Bell? Is it a few times a week, or is it taper off now with
it tapers off before a competition, but at its peak, it gets to 3 times a week.
All right. I
still try to stick to once every week or 2 weeks when I'm in peak shape,
No, that's awesome. But that's all I have for you. And if you have any, kind of last thoughts you want to get out there, please feel free. But I just really appreciate you coming on and taking the time. I know you're super busy and have a lot going on and a lot of very exciting stuff going on. So I wish you the best of luck, and we'll be following you along. And thank you again for sharing your story. And like I said, there's gonna be a lot of great content that a lot of people can take away from this. So people are gonna find this very beneficial. I know I'm gonna, take away a lot of stuff from this and start implementing it into my day-to-day lives and kind of rethink how I operate here. So, but great. Thank you again. Appreciate it.
Yeah, for sure. Thanks so much for having me on. Yeah, I really enjoyed this.
Awesome.
And I think this is some pretty important stuff to talk about. I feel like this was not really a thing back when I was growing up, the focus on mental health and those little smaller things that do make a big difference in not just elite athletes, but I think all people.
100%. No, I couldn't agree more. And I think that, like I said, the point of this is just making it normal. It's not everybody deals with this stuff in a debilitating way on a every single day basis, but there's gonna be times where things pop up and you just kind of feel not so great for a period of time or a couple of days, and that's completely normal. It's part of life, and that's kind of what the goal of this is. And I think, like you said, everyone goes through it, and the more it's casually talked about, the more we can kind of realize that it's not really that big of a deal. It's a big deal when you allow it to be, and when you don't check up on it and pay attention to it. So,
yeah, for sure.
But no, again, thank you so much and best of luck with everything.
Yeah, thank you.